My name is DeAnna. You must be Brandy.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Before we start, I just want to go over some confidentiality issues. Whatever you say and do here in my office, it remains just with me. Nobody else is going to know what you say or what we talk about. I do have to report, though, if you let me know that you're thinking about harming yourself, if you're thinking about harming others, or if other people are harming you. Do you understand that? Is that clear?
Yeah, completely.
Okay. So everything else you say and do is just between you and I. So with that being said, I look forward to hearing any problems or issues that you may be experiencing and trying to help you out with those.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. So what brought you into the office today?
Well, I'm doing really bad in my classes. I'm actually failing like 3 of them so far.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do. I'm kind of like, whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, I just want to fix that, but I really don't want to do anything about it to fix it.
All right. So what I hear you saying is some of your classes you're having trouble with. You're even failing one class. Tell me more about that. About your classes, what your class schedules look like.
Well, mostly I have morning classes, and they run, Monday through Friday. I'm taking a few psychology classes, which is my major, and I'm doing okay with those. But some of the other classes, like, I don't know, some math class I'm taking, and science and history, I hate all those things.
Okay.
So I kind of, I don't care as much about those, and I'm getting really poor grades in that.
Okay, so it sounds like you have a pretty heavy course load, and there's a lot of classes intertwined in there that you don't particularly like, the math, the sciences, not big fans like you are with your psychology classes. So I can imagine that could be really tough, that it's hard to pay attention or even learn in a class that you don't like, that you don't enjoy. Is that correct?
Right, I hate those classes so much, and I don't know what to do about them. Like, how do I get good grades in these classes when I don't like them? Like, what would you do? What should I do?
Okay. I think this is a really private situation that you're going through, and I want to help you figure it out. I really do. But I think this is something that you should come up with the solution. It should be generated from you. So I want to hear what you think about it.
I don't want to think about it. I just kind of want you to tell me, is there a way to get 100? How do I do that when I don't like these classes? I mean, you're kind of making me think that it's kind of maybe my fault that I'm, not doing so well in classes, and before I'm just I don't understand why I'm doing so badly, but it's kind of making me realize that I'm not necessarily studying for these classes. Since they're early, sometimes I just don't show up to them because I'm tired.
Okay.
So I think maybe that's my big problem there.
Okay. So I heard you say that maybe it's some of your own fault, that maybe you're not studying, you're not attending classes. So those are good. I'm glad that you recognize those as maybe some of the causes of the bad grades, even the failing grades. And now I want you to think of some solutions. Maybe, do you have any friends that you know who were getting bad grades, who were failing, and some solutions that they came up with?
Yeah, I know a lot of people in the class, because we pretty much all hate this teacher, and it's really boring classes. So what they were doing is they were actually reading the textbook, which I'm like, who reads textbooks? But it's making their grades a lot better when they read the textbook, and maybe that's what I need to do. And study sounds like a good idea, even though I don't want to do it. But something that I'm really concerned about is my parents. They just are really upset that I'm not doing good in classes, and I mean, I don't want to disappoint them, and I feel pressured to, get good grades, but at the same time it's a struggle because I hate these classes.
I can understand that you're under a lot of pressure from your parents, and of course everybody wants to fulfill their parents' dreams of getting good grades if that's what they want for you. But at the same time, you don't necessarily want to put in the work to study, although you do recognize that studying might help further your grades, get better grades. So I'm glad that you can recognize that. Tell me more about the issue with your parents, the kind of pressures that you mentioned you were under.
Well, initially my parents wanted me to be a doctor, and I know that requires a lot of science classes, and probably math, and those are things I hate. So the fact that they're letting me go for psychology, which is what I really want to do, is it's kind of a lot of pressure to do good, because they let me do what I want to do, and I'm not really succeeding that well, so I feel like they're going to be really, really mad, because it's like, look, we gave you the freedom to do what you wanted, and you're still doing really bad in school. So I'm feeling that pressure that I'm going to let them down, and they're going to be like, see, you should have been a doctor.
All right, what I hear you saying is that you are actually afraid that maybe you're not living up to your parents' standards, and maybe they're not appreciating who you really are. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's definitely it. I think they don't understand me. Maybe they don't really care what I want to do with my life. They have set expectations for me, and they want me to reach them, and maybe that's why I'm actually not doing good in the math and science class, because I don't want them to see me doing. I mean, I want to do well, but maybe underlying issues are, I don't want them to see that I'm doing that well and be like, you're doing so amazing in science, why didn't you be a doctor?
And that can be difficult. A lot of people choose the wrong profession because their parents influence them to go a direction that they didn't want to go. It's good that you can recognize, though, where your strengths are and obviously where your weaknesses are. But I want to go back to the classes that you're having the difficulties in, because it's really important to kind of find a solution, because we don't want you to fail out, and then with that comes increased stress from your parents, increased pressure. So we want to go back to that real quick to talk about solutions for those classes that you're failing.
I guess really the best thing to do would be kind of just to suck it up a little bit and do the reading, study, actually make it to class, even though I don't want to go, but just because I know that I should go and I don't want to fail. So I think those are, major ways to bump up my grade.
Absolutely. At the very least, attending class is good. If you're there listening to lectures, that will help. Reading, those are all really good things. And have you seen this improve any of your peers' grades? I know you mentioned that a lot of your peers read the books, things like that. Have you seen that been successful?
Yeah, they're doing a lot better on the tests. Initially they were doing as terribly as I was doing. We were kind of all on the same level. We don't care about this class. We're not going to do the homework. We're not going to read. And then as the bad grades trickled in, everybody was kind of like, well, maybe we'll read the textbook, because the teacher's boring and we don't understand. And they've been doing really well since they changed their study habits and that sort of thing.
Okay. So going back to how you said was an underlying issue is that pressure from your parents, maybe the improved grades, maybe they'll see at that point that you got through the tough classes and you can express that you are happy with yourself in your psychology classes and the classes that you're doing well in, and maybe they'll learn to better accept you, and they'll be okay with you not being a doctor and pursuing your psychology careers. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I can definitely see that as an outcome.
Good. I'm glad you can see that, and I'm glad that you can recognize that you do have strengths in other courses and other classes. And you're right, you came up with a solution on your own that reading the textbooks, maybe going to class, all of that will benefit you. So I'm glad that you were able to recognize that. And I wanted to make an appointment maybe for next week, see if you have improved any on your grades. Maybe even 2 weeks, say we'll give it that amount of time, to see if you have been going to classes and if you've been reading your textbook, and hopefully your grades will improve.
Great, yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, you think you can do that?
I can try to do that.
Okay, great. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, it was very nice to meet you. I'm glad you came in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, great.